Charlotte, you've been involved in some huge milestones for the women's division. How special is it to now be part of the first ever all-women's pay-per-view?
So I'm here at the Girl Up partnership announcement and working on women in sports, and we played the Evolution package, and I started tearing up. It hadn't really hit me, I guess, that we're having the all women's pay-per-view, because we talk about it and you promote it and it's go, 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 and now that it's here, I'm just overwhelmed. I just can't believe how far we've come in such a short period of time, and to think of the women from the past who are going to be on the show, the present, and the girls of the future from NXT all in one night, and what we represent and what we've been fighting for and what the women for the company have been fighting for the last, 20 years? Longer, 30 years? It's unbelievable. And I think with Evolution happening on Sunday, I really believe that the impact is going to trickle down into whether it's the business world, whether it is NCAA sports, because we're saying like, hey, women deserve as much spotlight and airtime and commitment as men do.
You touched on it there, and obviously you've taken part in other sports throughout your life.
Yes.
So how big a moment and a milestone is this for women's sport as a whole?
Yeah, that's what I mean. We've seen, women like Serena Williams make an impact, but with the WWE having how many women? What is it? 50 women total from different countries, different ages, different backgrounds, mothers coming back. It's saying that it doesn't matter in a male-dominated world that the women can steal the show and have a following for little girls, little boys, and families to come and enjoy the entertainment. And we're just as athletic and we're just as strong. And I think that's the message as well, is women are just as strong as men, and no matter what the environment is.
And kind of just taking a closer look at you and your character over the last year has changed, and we've seen a more vulnerable Charlotte. Has that been a challenge? What's that been like for you?
Yes and no. So when I was a bad guy, when I first started out, it was easy to be a bad guy because I felt like no one liked me, and they had this preconception because I was a legacy wrestler, and it's easier to have people not like you than like you. So now that I've come full circle, to be more vulnerable feels natural, because I feel like in my real life, I am more of a vulnerable person, because I always say this all the time. I wish I could be more like Charlotte. I think the only time that I really take it to heart is when I am still getting booed, and it's like, I'm smiling, like I'm telling my story. My best friend betrayed me, and as a competitor, I don't know what she would have wanted me to do to say no going into SummerSlam. So, but I think it's, being able to play both is just as important.
And you talk about your feud with Becky Lynch there.
Yes.
Now, so much so, she's now been compared to the legend Stone Cold Steve Austin. But how does that make you feel, in the sense that the rivalry has now put her there? So you feel like you've contributed to that?
I've never looked at it that way. What I think that I have contributed to is that we're gonna have a rivalry that will last for the ages. And you see two best friends feeling very strongly about their side, and that's very relatable. So whether you relate with Becky or whether you relate with me, it's entertaining. And knowing that we're gonna have the first ever last woman standing match at Evolution, that I know that my role got us to that moment, and that's what I'm proud of.
And you've won the most women's championships. You've won every women's championship title available. What is the ultimate aim for Charlotte?
It's funny, I still don't feel like I'm there. Like, I've had the opportunity to hold the Divas Championship, the NXT Championship, the Raw and SmackDown, but I still feel like I still want to grow. I still want to be that best good guy. Like you asked me, you've been a more vulnerable Charlotte for the last few months, and it's just finding those new layers. But I think for me, I want to main event WrestleMania with whoever it is. I mean, that is what I want, and that's my ultimate goal.
I know you just said whoever, but people have been talking about Ronda. Becky Lynch has said before that she'd like it to be the 4 horsewomen against each other. If you had to say, who would it be?
I can't say who it would be. I just know in order to main event WrestleMania, it's because of the story and not the characters. So it has to be the right story that people are invested in to main event WrestleMania.
And if I can just lastly ask you, we spoke to Stephanie earlier, who spoke about the really emotional announcement by Roman Reigns on Monday Night Raw. Just your reaction, and obviously there's been an outpouring of response from people since then.
He has just given us so much, knowing that he's been battling with this and the position that he's in. He has to be on top of his game. He is our top dog, and knowing that rain or shine, he was battling this just goes to show how strong he is. And I think, he's given us the gift of his athleticism, given us the gift of his work ethic, but I truly believe the greatest gift will be his comeback for